Blake Lively's employment contract is in, and it's quite revealing. Also, Justin's lawyer, Brian Friedman, is being sued for malpractice. Let's discuss. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore here with It's Kim. We had a fantastic show. If you want to watch the full live, always you can check them out at PopcornedPlanet.com. Become a member, hit sign up, join us over there. It's the best way, and it's where you'll get the documentary and more. We want to talk about two stories. These are the two main stories we're talking about live, and I'm glad we got to recap this afterwards because we were able to learn more about this. And honestly, this is complete nonsense now to me after everything we've gone through, and even more so, I want to set up what's happening. So conveniently now, during this big Blake Lively trial, I wonder if they in fact helped nudge this to existence. More about that in a second, but they are coming after him, this previous client who was suing Justin. This client, Travis Flores, was using Brian Friedman as his attorney, and Brian Friedman was suing Justin and Wayfarer over this movie he made called, I guess, a script called 3 Feet Distance. Both projects were romances about a couple living with progressive genetic diseases. Flores, who died in May 2024 from complications of cystic fibrosis, had years earlier appeared on the Baldoni docuseries My Last Days. Here he was. Now, they made this in 2020 at the end of the year. And here he was. This is, I guess, what he's alleging. Justin met me, learned the story, somehow found my script and stole it and went and made his movie. That's kind of what he's basically alleging. And then he's also alleging here that Brian sort of defamed and betrayed client attorney privilege, misrepresenting the merits of Flores' own case in the media. Even though the case was settled, he's saying, well, he went out there and you know, betrayed the attorney-client privilege. So on top of that, he's accusing, this is Travis's partner, is accusing Friedman of inappropriately trading up from the seriously ill client of Flores to a healthier client, Baldoni. Now, those are the allegations. There may be more to it. We'll see. The reality...
To be clear, if I can interrupt, we don't have a lawsuit at this
Correct.
time, so we're just going off of what we can see from the Hollywood Reporter. There may be more details. We also haven't heard Brian Friedman's side of the story. So this is still kind of in its infancy. We'll keep you guys posted, but we can only go off of the information that we've got. And it looks messy. We'll say that. It looks messy, but I don't know if it's illegal.
Well, and exactly. There's definitely a messiness to it, if anything, negatively, but we can get a little bit more specific on. But I just want to focus on 2 points they're saying. This idea that he traded up from the ill client to Justin. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble because it's years that happened between. They settled, and then 2 years pass, and then he goes and so this Travis person, you think Justin stopped your Brian stopped your lawsuit so he could, because he knew 2 years in the future he was going to have this It Ends With Us lawsuit that he could get rich off of with Blake. It makes no sense. This idea that he traded up, Blake wasn't around then. It Ends With Us wasn't around then. There was no idea that could happen. So I don't fully understand how that can be a reason. So that one's kind of out there for me. The second one being that, oh, well, there was client privilege. This is what Friedman said over the years. Oh, sorry. Let me start here. This is what he said. Oh no, that was it. I thought that was the end. Over the years, I've learned what great people Justin and Wayfarer are. The Flores case was resolved without any determination of liability on Justin's or Wayfarer or any other defendant's part. Since then, it has been further confirmed to me that Justin and Wayfarer are exceedingly honorable and highly ethical. Now, I don't see anything that breaches confidentiality. It's public that was settled without any restraints, and that he's allowed to say. Since then, I've met him and they're nice. And what I've learned, and that's what it sure seems to me. And if anything, now that we look more into this case, which we were, this movie, 5 Feet Apart, was based on a book. It was based on the book 5 Feet Apart, which was another I got a note, was another guest on My Last Days, even before Travis. This woman, Claire, who wrote the book. I thought I had it open here, but this person who wrote the book, this book has been been around more, longer than Travis's pitch. So I'm a little confused because how can Travis claim that he stole the story when this story was written? I'm trying to get it up so you can see it here. It was a New York Times bestseller. Rachel Lippincott, is that who it is? Book by Mickey and Rachel. I guess there it is.
And again, that's why I say like there may be more details in the lawsuit. We just don't have it. But there's just when you look at it on the face of it, there's a lot of questions. Like again, could be messy, but I don't know if it's illegal.
Yeah, and
So
so
we'll
this
have to
book was
look
written in
more.
2018 about another woman who had cystic fibrosis. So this is questionable to me. This doesn't make any sense to me. I'm having trouble understanding how then this was a ripoff. So I think this is going to be harder for them to prove. And as I look at it more, it seems that clearly there was a settlement because it seems clear there was clearly nothing wrong here. There was maybe a misunderstanding, but this idea, the settlement was clear like, hello, you're not going to win. Let's do this. I can't imagine Justin was trying to steal a dying kid's script. That makes no sense. From everything I've learned about Justin, I just don't buy that for a second. And the fact that Justin had already spoken and met with other people who had similar stories, Kim, a lot of people probably had that story, Kim. So that doesn't mean he stole your script and stuck it all. If any, and the fact that he licensed the book that came before Travis's, to me, it's a done deal. So look, anybody can make a malpractice claim. Someone in the chat said this earlier. There was a lawyer in the chat who made this clear. As a California attorney myself, I can tell you anyone can file a malpractice lawsuit against a California lawyer. That does not mean the allegations are true, nor does it mean Brian Friedman did anything illegal. It's important to say. Now, back to what Kim said, and I said it earlier, it is a bit messy. Illegal, no. Messy, sure. If you represented someone who was fighting Justin, you had to know that was going to come back potentially and used against you during the trial. And you might want to try to avoid that. Now, there's also the theory of, well, who else really wanted to take on WME? And this case Justin had, and Brian's clearly a pit bull and good at this in his own way. So that's where if there was anything messy, it should have been that. And I just hope Justin was aware of this before taking the case on, and that was at least decided on together. But beyond that, now that with all those sort of things out, it's hard for me to not see this as a nudge by someone on Blake Lively's team. And now that's my speculation. I'm not saying I can prove that, just to be clear. But what perfect timing, Kim. I mean, honestly, it's something Brian would do. But I would say, yeah, clearly this is a. I don't think it's illegal to do, but it's a distraction. Morally, maybe questionable. But if anybody on Blake's side cozied up to this poor grieving partner and sort of inched them in, I hope that partner wises up and calls it out because. Sure, you're allowed. It's sneaky. It's a way to go after your competitors. It's lawfare, but I find it's weird to me the timing of this. This is a way I think for Blake and team to get Brian knocked down a peg, to get some bad press. And this Hollywood Reporter article is an absolute hit piece against Brian that just focuses only on a lot of the negative than any of the positive. I'm looking at this incredibly skeptically. Now, again. He hasn't made a comment. We've only seen what Travis's partner has said. Based on what we see so far, I got to say I'm not worried or thinking Brian did anything wrong in this personally. Maybe a little messy. Maybe could have avoided this to avoid this issue happening now. But I don't see how it's illegal, and I don't see how he said anything defamatory or broke confidentiality clauses. So speaking of those clauses, just as we get to this recap, we also got Blake Lively's employment contract. Now. The summary of this, Kim, I guess you had a very quick summary, did you not? I mean, there's a lot of standard stuff in here, but the big question is she didn't sign it. She didn't sign it. But if she had signed it, a lot of this would have sort of potentially affected a lot of what's happening currently in the lawsuit. That said, it does make a clear sexual harassment claim that could terminate this contract. So it's going to be up for debate as well. Was this an SH, complaint? But there's a lot in here that I think is very relevant. And we've learned from Not Actually Golden and others. I'm waiting for Ron to chime in. But even though it wasn't signed, technically, if you proceeded like the contract was valid, it's valid. It's called course of conduct, which Ron's told us before. Not Actually Golden said it as well, Kim. Anything else you want to talk about this contract? Not Actually Golden says there's more coming and stay tuned because she suspects there are some, the signing of it isn't the big deal. That can be figured out. But there's other things she's going to look into because it was long. We're all still waiting. Any other takeaways you saw from that, though, Kim?
Yeah, I think, and Not Actually Golden mentioned this as well, but the power dynamics at play here, because this contract was brought up multiple times. It seemed like a bargaining chip. It was weird. I have a lot of questions as to how this went on as long as it did, because as you read through the contract, like there's so much in there that it's like, I don't know how, like, any of these companies would have felt comfortable proceeding without having this signed. So lots of questions there. We'll see what happens as more information comes out, more legal information. I think with this contract, as well as the Brian Friedman situation, we need to see more documents. We need to see more legal commentary. We need to hear from lawyers and people that understand the law more so than we do. And hopefully we'll get more clarification in the coming days about what the heck all of this actually means when it comes to litigation.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's a lot to figure out here, and the power dynamic, though, I think is a massive part of this case. I remember Ron said that too. It's actually a clip I pulled for the trailer for "It Ends with Justice," which I hope you guys are supporting, or it's coming. Stay tuned. We're just still midst
dealing
our
with
own
other
subpoena.
stuff.
There's other stuff happening, guys, so bear with us. It's slowed it down, but you can always become a member over on the website. Pick a tier. You can always click sign up, and there's merch and everything else, including if you go over there, the "It Ends with Justice" section. But as he said in the trailer, which you can see there on YouTube, yeah, Blake had the power, not Justin. So that's going to hurt her case a lot, because how did Justin use the power dynamic to retaliate and harass her when it was actually Blake that got everything? There was nothing withheld from her. In fact, she got more and more in everything she demanded. That is very relevant in this case, and she's trying to ignore that and distract it to everybody. But I do think, and I hope Nag is not actually Golden's implying there too, I hope we eventually can get to that and have Justin be able to prove that and share it, because that's a very important part of this case. She was in control. She had the power. She wasn't signing contracts. She was holding it over them. She was to get more things that she wanted, demands, etc. I don't see how that's not relevant. It absolutely is relevant. You're the one who's being abused and harassed on set, but then meanwhile taking complete charge of the movie. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know how much I buy that, Blake. So that's what they're gonna have to prove, both sides. Stay tuned. A lot more is coming. We'll keep you posted on that issue as well as this issue if this goes any further, or if Brian has any comments. So make sure, if you haven't already, whether you're watching live or on the replay, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for all alerts so you get notified, smash the like and all that jazz. And then do the same thing to It's Kim over there on YouTube as well. Make sure we get her to 40,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for watching. We're wrapping up both live and on the replay. You can always catch it on the website. We got a lot more coming your way tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be an uncensored. I'll at least tape something though, so stay tuned. But we got a lot more coming way. I'm trying to get through some documentary work, so pardon me. But a lot more is coming, so stay tuned. Appreciate you guys so much for watching on live, on all over. Have a wonderful evening. Stay tuned for more, and we will see you next time.